Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of Your Favorite Music Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Dwyer. Music has always been more than just a sound to me. It's been part of my identity since day one. In fact, somewhere in a dusty closet, there's a VHS tape of 4-year-old Dave rapping and dancing to Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby, like my life depended on it. I owe my love for music to my parents. My mom grew up in a small town in Connecticut where classic rock ruled. Bands like Grateful Dead, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd were always playing. My dad, on the other hand, was raised in the city where hip-hop was the soundtrack of his life. I would ride around with him listening to hip-hop artists like Run DMC, LL Cool J, and the Sugar Hill Gang. Growing up in the 90s with younger parents meant I was constantly surrounded by great music. That's when I discovered bands like Nirvana, Green Day, and Metallica. Looking back, I realized how lucky I was their influence gave me a truly wide-ranging taste in music, something I carry with me to this day. Now, I spend my time going to concerts and collecting music memorabilia such as concert posters and music pins that tell the story of my musical journey. This podcast is all about the music we live for, the songs that lit up our best memories and carried us through the hardest days. I'm talking about the anthems that hit deep, the ones you blast during breakups, crank on road trips, crush workouts with, or throw on just to vibe out and feel alive. Each week, I'll be hanging out with musicians, fans, and people from all corners of the music industry, talking about the music that made them who they are and the soundtrack that shaped their life. So for the very first episode, I wanted to start with a good friend of mine, Joe Mayerski. He's a singer, songwriter whose music hits on all levels of pop punk music. We talk about his music journey, his writing process, and of course, we find out his favorite music. So grab your headphones, lower your expectations, because hey, this is my very first episode. But enjoy my conversation with the incredibly talented Joe Mayerski. Today's guest is a talented singer-songwriter from right here in my home state of Connecticut. He just dropped the remastered version of his album, Crossroads, which is now streaming on Spotify, Apple Music, and all major music platforms. I'm excited to welcome a good friend of mine to the show, Joe Mayerski. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks for having me, man.
How we doing, bud?
I'm good, man. I've been, just trying to crank away on some new music in my downtime, in between spending time with the wife and working. And I've gotten really hot and heavy on the sim racing. I think I'm going to maybe become a Formula One driver.
Formula One driver. Okay, well, all right. Well, I was planning to talk to you about your music today.
I would love to.
Maybe we'll dive into that a little bit. I want to know all about that. I hope you continue to make music once you go pro in Formula One, but because I really enjoy it, and I want to introduce my audience to you. So for those who don't know you, Joe, how would you introduce yourself as an artist?
Oh, I go by my last name for my music, Mayerski. I am a alternative pop punk with a little bit of an edge singer-songwriter, originally from New Jersey, but moved up to Connecticut about 10 years ago. And I'm really influenced by bands like All Time Low, A Day to Remember, Thrice, Senses Fail, Silverstein, just to name a few. And I've really been working hard on a new record, and I'm looking forward to putting it out towards the end of the year and everybody getting to hear the new stuff. And I've had a lot of fun over the last 4 or 5 years doing some remasters and putting out another EP called Fortuna Liquida, which was kind of my test run as a solo artist, because I had grown up being in bands for most of my life and not really focusing on my stuff, but always receiving feedback from others about music and ideas and song structure and things of that nature. So the Fortuna Liquida EP was really a time that I got to sit down and sculpt all of those songs from start to finish exactly how I wanted them to be. And it was an experience that I really enjoyed, and I thought I captured a pretty cool sound. So I decided to keep going with it.
I love that. Let's talk about the early days, though. Let's talk about when you first started playing music. What was your first instrument? Tell me about your first song. Hit me with it.
So I first started playing guitar when I was 14. My dad had given guitar lessons growing up in New Jersey, so I got interested in music through him, and I'm super thankful for that. And he had some guitars around the house, and I would pick one up every once in a while and kind of try to figure it out on my own. And then I started getting lessons myself, took lessons for about 3 to 4 years. And then I kind of egotistically, young child, decided that I had learned enough from this instructor and I was going to go off and try to learn some more stuff on my own, which I did do. And then 2004, Green Day put out the American Idiot album. And that was my first exposure to like legitimate punk rock music. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And that record really inspired me to sit down and learn about song structure and how to write and things of that nature. And then I just started singing along to a lot of the songs and kind of figured out how to engage my diaphragm and project my voice. And
Ooh.
here we are all these years later.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy.
I
I,
love it.
I Green Day has no, if I ever met Green Day, I don't probably would lock up and not even know what to say because they've been such a huge influence on me, especially that American Idiot record.
Mhm.
All their stuff is great, but that record in particular was very, very inspirational for me to like get me going when I was younger.
Sure. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned Green Day because do you remember the first time we met?
I do.
It was actually at a Green Day concert. I met
Yep.
you in the parking lot through a mutual friend of ours that
Yep.
we both happened to work with. And I
Yep.
had known him before working where we work. And it was awesome. I met you. He said we worked together. I'm like, hey. And then after that, we started talking music. We started gaming together. So it's really awesome that you mentioned Green Day because I met you at a Green Day concert.
Yeah.
I
Shout out
love
Jason, man.
that.
Shout out Jason.
Shout out
Love you,
Jason.
bro.
So I mean, you just hit on a
Great.
lot there. Yeah, that's fantastic. So you mentioned American Idiot was one of your early influences. What are some other bands or albums that really influenced who you are today?
The Artist in the Ambulance by Thrice.
Ooh, great one.
Discovering the Waterfront by Silverstein.
Okay.
The Put Up or Shut Up EP by All Time Low. So Wrong It's Right by All Time Low. And there's just so many others that I can't even like think of right off the top of my head right now.
And
But there's a lot.
this is why you and I are friends because we're both what you consider elder emos. I think
Elder,
nowadays.
yeah, exactly.
That's what they call us nowadays.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, you mentioned your dad. Was there music that influenced you that he played growing up? Like, what were the like early days? Like, what? Because I know my parents influenced me when I was growing up. Any
Yep.
music that they may have listened to that you enjoyed?
A lot of Meatloaf, a lot of
Okay.
Def Leppard, and a lot of Eagles.
Ooh, the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah, Hotel California in particular is a song that I mean I get choked up now listening to because my dad had recently passed, but
Right here.
we always anytime we went there was a restaurant in southern Jersey called Mastori's. Anytime we got on the highway to go to this restaurant, we put Hotel California on, roll the windows down and in the summer and stuff and just like I really wish I could have went to see the Eagles live with him. He wasn't much of a concert goer, so I get it. Like he would go to my shows and stuff, which I always and still appreciate to this day,
Of
but
course.
he wasn't much of like a concert goer kind of guy. But yeah, Meatloaf too. My mom was a big Meatloaf and Def Leppard fan, so that stuff was always kind of playing around the house when I was growing up, and just take little mental notes here and there of what certain artists are doing and try
Yeah.
to recraft it and sculpt it into my own style.
I like that. Speaking of your style, like what is your sound? How would you describe your sound in your own words?
I would probably say it's a eclectic mix of punk rock, pop, alternative, and post-hardcore.
Okay.
You kind of get a little bit of everything when you listen to some of my music, especially the new album that I'm working on. I'm not going to say it's all over the place genre-wise, but there's a lot of experimentation and tying
Ooh.
in different types of music that you typically wouldn't hear me write or or sing for that matter.
Mm.
But we're trying a couple of new things for the new album, and I'm really excited.
I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of songwriting, new songs, can you tell me the first song you ever wrote and what do you remember about it? Where you were?
Oh man, that's the question. Actually, I think I do know.
Okay.
My buddy Mike and I, shout out Mike, love you, bud. He and I wrote a song called Mission Runaway in our high school band days.
Okay. What's the name of the band?
The name of the band,
I gotta know. High school band names are great.
The name of the band was Madaria.
Okay.
And everybody would always confuse it with the word malaria, which was really funny.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, everybody used to call us Madaria Malaria, so that was funny. But we did come second place Battle of the Bands at the high school. So
okay, congrats. Let's go.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, we actually only had like 2 or 3 classes together growing up, but one of them happened to be music theory class. So our professor wasn't really into teaching, even though that's what he's supposed to do. We watched the movie Up a lot, and in that time, Mike and I wrote music in the back together.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that you guys cared more about the music than whatever movie was playing.
Dude, I've seen Up probably 96 times. I'm not even kidding. We watched Up like 3 or 4 days a week. Mike can attest. I'm telling you.
I've never seen that movie. Never seen it.
I could probably recite it line by line if you want. That way it'll save you some time.
Maybe another time.
Yeah.
Another episode. So you're in the back of the class writing music. What was that first song?
Mission Runaway.
Okay. What was it about?
We had that's I don't know. kind of about like running away from home and like saving your strength for another day kind of thing. Something like that. There's a demo floating around on Google Drive somewhere that will probably never see the light of day, but Well,
tell me about the first album you recorded. What's the very first album? First album.
Professionally or something I did?
Either or. How? Yeah. What's the first album?
So, the first album I did. The first album I did was for my band A Life Thereafter. It was called Breaking the Illusion. Okay. We had 8 tracks on there. I still to this day would love to remaster it. I think that'd be something kind of fun to put out. That might happen. Who knows? But Breaking the Illusion was great because not only were we breaking our own illusion by putting music out, because we never thought we'd be able to do that, but it was a very, very post-hardcore style aggressive album, which is something that I always wanted to write. And like teenage angst, dealing with high school and stuff, it's very easy to write angry music.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool songs on there. The song Mirror on the Wall on the Fortuna Liquida EP, that song was actually originally recorded for the Breaking the Illusion album.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so there's like an old school demo raw style version of that song on that album from years ago. Maybe I'll remaster it. Maybe I'll remaster. Maybe I should.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you played. It sounds like you played Battle of Bands. What's the first concert outside of like a high school environment? What's the first show you ever played?
First show we ever played, it was with my band Madaria.
Okay.
We played a venue called Cafe 55 in Brick Township, New Jersey. This cafe was not aware of the type of band they were booking. So then we showed up with a full drum kit. We were 3-piece at the time, so it was just me on vocals and guitar. My buddy at the time, Hank, was on bass, and my buddy Mike was the drummer. We blew the roof off of this cafe. Like, not literally, but like it was pretty loud in there, and I think they were concerned that the pastry case was going to crack because my amplifier was pointing right at it. So I was told several times during that show, in between songs, like, "Hey, you got to turn your amp down a little bit. It's a little loud in here," kind of. So
Reminds me of that classic Denny's clip from that band that rocked out in that Denny's years back.
Yeah, so imagine Denny's, but like even smaller. Like imagine a Denny's that was like a third the size.
Sure.
I kid you not, like there's maybe 15 feet from me to my window over here. Like the drum kit was right there and the back of the venue's right here. There was not a lot of space in this place, but the pastries were great. And the crew was really nice. And the sound tech actually knew what he was doing, which was even better. And we had a really good time. I think we had about 30 or 40 friends and family come out. And then we had a few others just that rolled through the door hearing about it on social, because that's when social media was blowing up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Now
I still have all the original ticket stubs at my parents' house.
Oh, that's really cool. That's cool to have.
Yeah.
I used to collect ticket stubs to all the concerts I used to go to, and I had a book that I kept them in, and then around the year 2015-16, that book just stops because everything was digital, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I miss those old ticket stubs, getting those shows, like they're nice to have, but that's cool that you have your own from your own show. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now
there's a lot of them floating around because we never sold anything out.
Still, I mean, to have them and just this little memory, that's awesome. Yeah. Tell me about your favorite concert you ever played.
Favorite concert I ever played. We played Starland Ballroom in New Jersey, which is it's New Jersey's leading national touring act venue that's not a stadium or an arena. So pretty decently big bands would go through there. All Time Low, Silverstein, like some of the bands I mentioned earlier. Green Day's played there a few times, like pop-up secret shows that they didn't really announce.
Oh, that's cool.
So my band of Life Thereafter played there, and we played for Bleeding Through at the time was doing a farewell tour. So we somehow got contacted. I don't even remember how, but we got contacted by the promoter, and he was like, "Hey, I'd love to have you guys open this show. Like, I like to give new bands opportunities." And I was like, I mean, it's Starland Ballroom. I don't really care who's playing. I'm not going to say no, because that was a stage where I was like, if we can at least get to here, I'll be happy with what I've achieved.
Sure.
Because there have been so many great artists that I listen to and that other people listen to that have sold out that venue. And it would just be really cool to walk onto that stage and be like, yeah, we're going to perform and have a good time. And, it was awesome. I've gotten to play there 3 times, and it to this day is still the most special place that I've ever gotten to play. But
where were the bands that you opened up for?
Yeah, so it was Bleeding Through's farewell tour, even though they came back, which is that's a thing that bands do now. Yep. Oh, we're gonna go on our farewell tour, and then 3 years later they announce an album, and then it just skyrockets their popularity.
I think Yellowcard's doing that right now. I saw them on their farewell tour, and then I think they just announced a tour. I was like, wait, I thought I said goodbye to them.
Yeah, and they're doing an album.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it was Bleeding Through, Gideon, which I don't know what happened to Gideon. Bleeding Through, Gideon, Oceano, and another band that I Sworn In, a band called Sworn In.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, they were all really, really, really nice people. And the promoter forgot to pay us and insisted that he had already paid us, so we lost out on like $250 for the show.
Ooh.
Yep.
That sucks.
And our merch got delayed, so we didn't have anything. Like we showed up to the venue with our gear, unpacked, went to the stage, played the show, and they literally kicked us out. They're like, "Yeah, get your gear out, guys. We got to load other stuff in." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, thanks for the opportunity." But we played for like 200 people, which was cool.
That's awesome. I mean, that was
cool.
That's a memory, and that's is that your biggest show?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so for sure.
I like that.
I still have like I have a vivid memory from that show. We were playing a song called Final Cut. It's the first track off of Breaking the Illusion. I'm gonna have to re-release this album now since I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean,
so we're in the middle of Final Cut, and there's a section. It's a shorter song. It's only like 2.5 minutes. We're in the middle section where we go to halftime, and then there's like this big build up into this like chunky riff and a breakdown or whatever. And I just remember getting to that part of the song and stepping away from the mic and looking into the crowd. And I'm just like, get up here. I want someone to get up here. Get up here. Like, just like trying to get people to move around.
Yeah.
And we hit the chunky riff that leads into the breakdown, and like 40, 50 people just started pushing and shoving each other. And I just remember looking out there like this happened. This is happening. Like, this is sick. Like, I don't have to worry about getting hit. This is the best day of my life. I'm protected on the stage. But yeah, that was still to this day one of my favorite shows for more reasons than one. But we could talk about the other stuff another time.
Of course, absolutely. Would love to get into that. Give me 3 bands that would be your 3 bands you would love to open up for, like your dream concert.
Green Day, All Time Low, Silverstein.
Ooh, I love how quick you were there. I love that. I love that.
But to be fair and to be honest, there are a lot of bands that I would love to open up for.
I asked for 3. For 3. I love it. I love it. Now getting back to your music, what are some things you want people to take away from your music when they hit that play button? Just
experience. I tend to put a lot of my personal life into my lyrics. So at the end of the day, I always hope that whoever's listening to it or what they're getting out of it is that they can relate to it, and it might help with their healing or grieving process. And I think that's something super important that music does for people, is it tends to heal over time. And it's just an outlet of entertainment where you can kind of shut everything off, and I'm going to listen to this record for the next 50 minutes. And this is the only thing that matters in my life for the next 50 minutes, because I need time to relax and enjoy myself. Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. Love that answer, Joe. Let's go. Along those lines, what's something about being a musician that people may not realize or fully appreciate? What do you love about it?
How difficult it is to grow.
Tell me about that. Expand.
I have essentially restarted my music career for the 3rd time now. And it is very hard to grow, especially with social media. And I know that probably sounds counterintuitive, but everybody is always flooding social media, and it's really easy for things that you're promoting to get suppressed under the rest of the stuff. Plus, I feel like people nowadays kind of like what they like and don't really listen to a lot of new bands as much as, I'm going to get heat for this, but
oh boy,
not listen to bands in the old school fashion the way that you and I maybe used to growing up. I'll give you an example. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Warped Tour. If you're walking around Warped Tour and someone comes up to you with a Walkman and a headset and says, "Hey, I also write music. I want to try to promote my band. Can you listen to one of our songs?" The answer is always yes. In today's day and age, granted, there's no Warped Tour right now, which there is, but I digress.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. People aren't as approachable about music anymore, in my opinion. And
they like what they like.
Exactly. And I think it's a double-edged sword, because not only, I just feel like people need to be more open about music in general. Like, give things a shot.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree. And that's why, and I think that's part of the reason why I started my reaction channel, because I found that for a long time I was like that growing up. I loved going and finding new bands to listen to. I don't know if you remember, but there's a website called Pure Volume when I was growing up, where it was a perfect outlet to discover those new and upcoming bands, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like an unsigned section. I'd go through there and click through there, and I would go out of my way to find new music. And
you probably accidentally listened to some of my stuff because we were on Pure Volume.
I hope I did. And then over time, as I got older, I felt as if I wasn't doing enough to go find new music, which led me to this channel here, where I go out of my way to find new music and take recommendations from people and try to expand my musical horizons. And I love doing that. And I think you nailed down the head. It's funny that you mentioned people promoting their music with headphones. Just yesterday at the gas station, which is about a half a mile down the road from me here, there was a guy sitting out there with CD, t-shirts, right, and headphones. He goes, "Hey man, come on." He heard me rolling up, listening to music. "Hey, can you come check out my music?" I stopped what I was doing. "Yes, I can," right? And hey, I listened to his music. I said, "This is awesome." He goes, "Here, can you buy my CD?" I said, "I would if I had a CD player." I said, "Are you on social media?" No.
You got a QR code, dog?
Yeah,
Like,
you got anything I can find? I started typing him, any Spotify, Apple Music. No. I got the CD though. I'm like, all right, man, let me give you a tip. Give me some online, give me something where I can find you online. I'll listen to you there. Like CDs, a little outdated, but same thing. Like, but I stopped. I was, I had things I had to do, but I stopped to go listen to this guy's music, and I just love doing that. I love finding new music that way. So yeah, I love that answer. That is, what a great answer. Fantastic. So wrapping up, what can we expect from Mayerski in the future? Any upcoming projects, concerts? What do we got going on? Hit me with it.
So new song, Nightmare. Comes out June 30th.
Ooh, about a month away.
That song will also be featured on an album that's going to be coming out in November.
Okay, November.
And
so we got a new single in a month, new album in November. All right.
Yep. And then there's going to be another single in July.
We got a rollout.
That song will not be featured on the record as of right now. That might change. We'll see. It depends on the direction the rest of the record goes in. But that'll be out in July. And then, like I said, the album should be done in November.
Do we have a name of the album yet?
We do.
Okay. All right. Are you gonna tell me, or we gotta wait? Surprise.
I'm not ready to announce it yet.
Okay. All right. Maybe in a future episode, maybe we do this again closer to the album.
I would love to. Yeah, that'd be great.
I love that.
Sample a song or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe react to a song together.
I love that.
Do it for the channel.
That's perfect.
Maybe in a month for the new song.
Yeah.
All right. I'm right. I like that. All right.
Music you hear it today if you want.
Well, listen, don't excite me. Maybe. When you're not playing music, Joe, what other hobbies and things do you do outside of music? What do you like? You mentioned F1 earlier. Tell me more about that.
I spend a lot of time with my wife, my lovely, beautiful wife. Her name is Robin, and we've been together, a very long time. And I love her very much, and she's one of my hugest inspirations for music, because she will never say no to listen to any sort of music ideas that I'm cooking up in the loft up here. I play a lot of ice hockey. I play a lot of golf.
Okay.
Joey Hockey, Joey Links. And I've recently really bit hard into this Formula 1 sim racing. Like, I got a wheel now. It's a big deal. I got the hat #1.
I'm gonna see you soon.
I'm really into it.
You're gonna be one of those people on TikTok that make their room into an actual car.
Dude, those things are crazy. I had a coworker that did the full sim racing thing, and he had monitors. So he had 3 monitors in front of him, and then he had 2 monitors on the sides that would reflect the sides of the car, so he could turn his head, and it was insane. I never saw it in person, but I saw pictures, and I was just like, dude, that's crazy. To get a really good sim setup, you're talking $10,000-$12,000. And I'm like, dude, where we work, that money's not real.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I mean, it could be another, but anyways, but yeah, that's awesome. So F1,
it's a lot of fun.
Golf, hockey. That's awesome. You do a lot.
I do. I keep myself busy because it suppresses the anxiety down.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Joe, I wanted to say thank you for joining me on my very first episode, my very first interview, Joe Mayerski on Your Favorite Music Podcast. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, bud.
Tell the audience where we can find you online. Plug all your stuff. Hit me with it.
Yeah, all of my music is on YouTube under my last name. Just search for Mayerski. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at Joey Mayerski, and I'll
Love it.
post all the updates there. I also have a secondary Instagram that is at Mayerski Music, which I really only post to when stuff is happening. But for all real time, so to speak, updates, follow me at Joey Mayerski on Instagram. That's where all the fun is.
There it is. Joe Mayerski, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you guys enjoyed this interview, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave comments, show love to my man, Joe Mayerski, and we'll catch you guys next time. What a way to kick off the podcast. Shout out to Joe Mayerski for such an awesome conversation about his music journey. We're just getting started here on Your Favorite Music Podcast, and we want you to be part of the journey. If you're loving the vibe, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share this podcast. I'm Dave Dwyer. See you next time. And remember, music is better when it's shared. Turn it up, pass it on, and keep the good vibes alive. Till next time.
Time comes and bring me down to break.